Here's the unexpected truth. If you want more creative risk-taking and real forward motion in your practice and creative work, you have to bring your shadow into the room. By the end of this video, you'll know how to turn your practice room from a battleground with your inner critic into a laboratory for creative breakthroughs. This is the third video in the series Shadow Work for Musicians. If you haven't seen the first two videos yet, watch those first so you can make the most out of what we'll cover here. In video 1, you met your shadow. In video 2, you began getting to know your shadow through journaling and building the habit of checking in to cultivate a real relationship. As promised, this video is about partnering with your shadow in your music making, whether you're in the practice room, rehearsal hall, or composition studio. To illustrate this, let me tell you about a former client of mine, a terrific pianist I worked with several years ago. For privacy purposes, we'll call him Tom. He came to me for help with his promotional materials and for improving the relationships he had in his university teaching job. We upgraded his website, his promo materials for teaching and performing, and we worked on booking concerts. In the course of all this, we also talked about how things were going for him musically. Tom said he wasn't performing at the level he knew he was capable of. When I asked him what went on in the practice room, he said he noticed he was easily distracted and that he wasn't as focused as he'd like to be. He also beat himself up. His inner critic was relentless. Most musicians wrestle with their own version of that dynamic. Tom was very interested in shadow work and had been journaling daily. As a next step, I suggested Tom welcome his shadow into the practice room with him and that he imagine his shadow sitting next to him on the piano bench. And when Tom inevitably found himself frustrated with a passage he was working on, I recommended that he turn to his shadow and ask for help. We know we don't have all the answers on our own, and we only ask for help from people we respect. This requires humility. That's exactly the kind of relationship you want to have with your shadow. But if your shadow first appeared to you as an angry 12-year-old, like mine did, you might ask yourself, why would I ever turn to them for help? The answer is because your shadow has access to parts of your unconscious that you don't. Be sincere and say to your shadow in your own words, I really don't know what to do with this passage. I'm at my wit's end. I hope that you've got a creative solution for us or something we can try. Please, I'd love your help. Remember, you're turning toward a part of your own unconscious that's been overlooked, that's always been banned from the practice room. This is your chance to tap into new perspectives and new approaches. And you might get some surprising suggestions. Your shadow might want you to make a cup of tea. It may tell you to lie down on the floor and breathe, or go up and down the stairs in your building twice. You might think this is a distraction, a waste of time, but when you return from doing this, something has shifted. A new idea appears, and it changes everything. In writing projects, I've had my shadow tell me exactly where there's a problem in a sentence or in a paragraph. And it often gets me to slow down and consider what it is I truly want to say. But don't expect to hear a literal voice. Your shadow may speak through gut instinct or a strong intuition. Don't ignore it. When you turn and ask your shadow for help, you're no longer working in isolation. You're playing chamber music together. Because your shadow has more freedom, it isn't afraid of rejection and wants you to have a freer, more expansive life. Following through on your shadow's suggestions can transform your practicing. I told Tom all this and he experimented. The idea is to turn the practice room into a laboratory with your shadow as your creative partner. And together you'll work things through, trying out a range of approaches. After several months, I checked back in with Tom about how the practicing was going. And what he told me surprised even him. Tom said, my practicing is not only more effective and focused, but I no longer dread the work. I find myself more engaged and even inspired. All of this started to ease Tom's relationships. There's a kind of domino effect. If our practicing is going better, then often the teaching is going better too. And then the relationships at work get better, as well as the relationships at home. When our artistic work is going well, it can make everything else feel doable, unlocking new possibilities. As for how to translate shadow work for composers, it's the same thing. Let's say you're working on a passage, and if you feel blocked, ask your shadow for help. Ask your shadow, how do you hear the next phrase we need? Or, I have no idea what this section needs. I just know it's not working. What do you want to try? Of course, just like prayers, the answers don't always show up immediately. New insights may come in the shower, while you're cooking dinner, walking the dog, or just as you wake from a dream. One of my composer clients, we'll call her Charlotte, was up against a deadline and struggling with a crucial passage. I suggested she ask her shadow, what's the most courageous, over-the-top kind of solution you can imagine? I told her to make a quick sketch of whatever her shadow gave her. Then I said, and also sketch out a tamer version of the passage. You don't have to orchestrate these, just sketch them out so you can make an informed choice. Charlotte was down to the wire with the piece, and the next time we talked, she said her shadow had really come through. They both decided together that the more courageous version was what the piece needed most. For me, I've had days when my shadow saved a coaching session or a conversation where I felt clueless about how to respond. It's at those moments when I turn in my mind's eye to my shadow and say, I've got nothing. Can you help? And my shadow saves the day by coming up with something inspiring I wouldn't have ever thought of on my own. That leaves me deeply grateful. It has helped me find a better balance among the emotions that move through me. So to recap, in the first video, you met your shadow. In the second, you started cultivating a relationship with journaling. In this video, we explored partnering with your shadow in your daily work. And in the final video, I'll show you how to walk on stage without abandoning yourself, even when the stakes are high. If you found this useful, please like, comment, and subscribe below. And if you know of other musicians who'd benefit from this, please share it with them. We're all in this together. See you next time.